The day we got him back on the ice and he got a long-standing ovation was maybe perhaps the most emotional experience and most satisfying experience I've had.
Even for a franchise with a history as rich and as lengthy as the Montreal Canadiens, Saku Koivu's return from battling cancer is near the top of the list of all-time moments.
Cancer is unjust, and I've had some philosophical discussions with Saku, and it's unfair.
Dr. David Mulder is the man behind that story.
He's lost some hair, but he has not lost his ability to fight.
He was a warrior in terms of the treatment, tough treatment.
And many others that shaped hockey's most winning franchise.
We not only treat the players, but we treat their wives and children. Quite a long time.
Still patrolling the halls of the Montreal General Hospital, where the trauma center bears his name, Mulder now looks back fondly at his 6 decades with the Canadiens, guiding players like Koivu, their families, the team, and its fans through some tough situations.
Sa tête a frappé le coin de la baie vitrée.
This very just went the wrong way, and you can see the pain he is in right now.
And this is a vicious hit, full speed. Boy, you hate seeing moments like this.
Mulder joined the Junior Canadiens medical staff in 1963, shortly after finishing medical school in Saskatchewan and accepting a role at the Montreal General Hospital. The first player he stitched up was Bobby Orr, when the future Boston Bruins legend was playing for the Oshawa Generals. Mulder rose up the ranks, joining the Canadiens in 1969. Back then, marching orders were essentially to get the player back onto the ice as soon as possible. Conflicted, Mulder turned to the one and only Jean Beliveau.
He said, ignore the press, ignore management, and ignore the fans, and do what's best for the player. Probably the single most important bit of advice I ever received.
Mulder and the Habs rode a wave of team success over the following decade.
It was a very exciting time. Playing in the playoffs is the only time a doctor travels with the team. So it was a very exciting time for a young guy who grew up loving hockey. He couldn't ask for anything better.
But Mulder's brightest moments in the spotlight didn't involve parades and confetti.
Doctors say Trent McCleary is doing well after an injury that almost killed him. McCleary was trying to block a shot. He suffered a fractured larynx and collapsed lung.
Maybe the most encouraging sound I ever heard was when I did the jaw thrust and I heard a squeaky breath.
Trent McCleary's injury was Mulder's closest brush with death at a hockey rink.
Battle hard for the win. I'll be listening. Go Habs, and it's signed Trent number 6.
He credits the quick action of his colleague, Dr. David Fletcher, who was attending the game and jumped in to help, and the decision not to do an on-site tracheotomy and instead rush McCleary to the Montreal General as factors that saved the player's life.
Saku came in, he said he'd eaten some bad food on the plane coming over and he had a pain in his abdomen. We did an ultrasound of his abdomen and we all, the radiologist said this is metastatic carcinoma. And so he had a laparoscopic biopsy the next day and it proved to be lymphoma. It was a better prognosis. We were kind of relieved.
I always refrain from using the word cancer because I've learned that it scares patients. But this is a type of cancer. I'm not ruling out returning to play hockey, but don't ask at time.
So we wanted to send the tissue away. No one would fly anything anywhere because of the 9/11. So we finally got sections to the U.S. and to London, England. Everybody agreed on a chemotherapy regime, and fortunately, thank goodness he responded.
He's had some bad days with headaches. He's had some difficulty with nausea and vomiting. These are things that we normally see with this treatment. He has toughed them all out.
I know, and I will win this fight.
We made it back, and we had the good fortune to go over to Turku, to his hometown, and attend his wedding, which was an incredible experience. We sat right behind the bench. The injury happened right in front of us. He was unconscious, so that's what I saw. We took him off the ice, and he sustained injuries to the head and brain, and more importantly, had fractures of his cervical spine.
Mulder worried Max Pacioretty would never play hockey again.
One of the most emotional interviews I had was with Max's mom and dad the night of the injury.
Pacioretty did recover and raised several $1 million to buy the Montreal General a new MRI machine.
The net is empty. Can he tuck it in? He does. Pays a price.
Mulder says progress has been made on player safety over the years, especially around head injuries.
Management don't question it anymore. If we think someone should sit out, we sit them out.
And Peros and Orr now going at it.
But there is much more to be done.
Wow. Oh, and Peros is out. He is out cold. Oh my.
What I would like to see is that fighting was out of question or was disallowed. But that's not a very popular thought. My view is that the goal of a fight is to produce a concussion. It's to create a brain injury.
Mulder's legacy extends beyond hockey. In the 1980s, he launched a campaign to establish a new approach to trauma care in Quebec, dramatically increasing survival rates in the province. He was also at the center of events that shaped Montrealers, like the Dawson College shooting and the École Polytechnique massacre.
I took the first patient to the operating room, and then we operated all evening that night, I think 6 to 8 hours, with 5 or 6 surgeons involved. It was a heroic thing.
Mulder is a strong advocate for gun control, in part because of those experiences.
No one needs a semi-automatic or an automatic wartime weapon. We don't need them for hunting I grew up on a farm. I know how to handle a gun better than probably anybody. So which hospital do you work at?
Still, between it all, the tragedies, the injuries, the treatments, and the triumphs, Mulder says there is one enduring lesson.
I treat every operation now as a team sport. And nothing gets done well unless we have the whole team on side. So there's nothing more important than the team concept.
Dr. Mulder will perform the ceremonial face-off.